Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Half a day, people of Guam. We are very honored to be here today. And before we start, we would like to acknowledge very important people who are here with us, starting with our speakers, Speaker Judith Wonpat. We also have with us the chairperson of the Guam Education Board, Ms. Lou Nicholas, and then we have the vice chair. Oh, and she is on her way. Okay, vice chair, and we also have Mr. Mr. Kendro. Senior moment. Member of the board, and we of course have Ms. Mary Gutierrez, who's also a member of the board. And we have the Superintendent of Education, Mr. John Fernandez, who I would like to congratulate for his 4-year contract renewal. Congratulations. Yes. We also have with us the Deputy Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, and we have Joe Sanchez. We have the Superintendent, the Acting Deputy Superintendent of Student Services. Assessment and okay, yes, Mr. Chris Anderson, and we do have Ms. Erica Cruz, who is the Deputy Superintendent of School and Community Learning, and of course we have the Deputy Superintendent of Finance and Administrative Services, Ms. Starling Cruz. Starling Taitano. All right, I'm really doing a good job here. Then we have our principals with us, and we have Mr. Rages, who is principal at Untalan Middle School, Mr. Fullo, the principal in Benavente Middle School. Wow, doing so far. And then we have Dr. Perez, who is the principal at Upi Elementary, and we have Ms. Frida. Yes, Ari, Tijan High School. And I think that's everybody. Okay, so I would like to give to present the resolution to our speaker, Wonpat. But this is very important because this is the first time in the history of the nation that a district has been awarded full accreditation by WASC. And so without further ado, I would like to please turn this over to Speaker Wonpat.
Thank you very much, Senator. This is resolution number 282-33 COR, and was introduced by Senator Underwood herself, myself, Senator Respicia, and really all of the members of the 33rd Guam Legislature. And it's relative to recognizing and commending the Guam Department of Education for its achievement in receiving the nation's first district-level accreditation awarded by the Accrediting Commission for Schools, the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. And of course it talks about the WASC, and it also talks about the other schools throughout the nation. And it actually talks about the philosophy, which centers on 3 things, which are the school's goal is successful student learning. Each school has a clear purpose and school-wide student goals. And the third, the school engages in external and internal evaluation as part of continuous school improvement to support student learning. And it also speaks to DOE state strategic plan that's required to be able to continue to receive federal funding and so on. And and of course the resolve clause here is that it congratulates GDOE, its staff, all of its support staff as well, and that the committee recognizes and commends the Guam Department of Education for its achievement in receiving the nation's first district level accreditation awarded by WASC, and that we the legislature, the Committee on Rules, of course, has certified this. It was attested to by our legislative secretary. And of course, the copies will be given to not just the superintendent, the board, school principals themselves, and Governor Calvo. And it was signed by myself as the speaker, signed by also our legislative secretary and our chairperson on Committee on Rules. So, Senator, it's a great honor that I turn this over to you now, and you make the official presentation to the superintendent. Okay.
Both of us. Go ahead. There you go. There you go. Yes.
Congratulations.
You have to be here too. I think closer. And take away the mic.
Thank you, Speaker Wampat and Senator Underwood. On behalf of the Department of Education, I know all of us here today are just very proud to achieve WASC's first district-level accreditation. Now, as everybody knows who's been part of a school accreditation process, we have 41 schools, and I think a little bit over a half were accredited already by WASC when I came on board. But we realized that if there is truly a focus on learning, if we are truly going to leverage and maximize the WASC accreditation process by which we are able to receive visits from experts around the region to come and support our efforts, then it was important for all of our schools to be accredited. And so we are in the process that will lead us to the year 2020, where all schools will be accredited by WASC here in the Guam Department of Education. But as we went through that process, what we realized was that we are not a system of 41 separate islands, that we are one school system, we are one school district, and our efforts are all the same, our mission, our vision is all the same, to produce college and career-ready graduates when they leave our school system, and that these graduates go on to be productive members of our society. So with that being said, the focus that we've had at the central office, at my level, and in conversation with WASC, was trying to determine whether we had the same focus on learning from a district level standpoint. And that means from the board, Guam Education Board, to the superintendent, to our division heads, and then to our administrators and our school faculty and staff and stakeholders, that we were all focused on the same thing, which is maximizing our efforts and our resources to improve student outcomes. So in conversation with WASC, we asked that they look into adapting their accreditation process to reflect the district level efforts, to allow us at the district level, which means all of the deputies, the division heads, to engage in this conversation about how our efforts contributed to our outcomes for students, and then to map out our cycle of improvement, our assessment of where we were strong, where we needed to improve, and to set out an opportunity to continue those improvements going forward. So with that said, we initiated this process probably a year and a half ago. I want to thank Deputy Superintendent Erica Cruz, who was our lead person in charge of this project and making sure that this got done. She was our main interface with WASC. I want to thank the team of principals, Mr. Fullo, Mr. Regis, Dr. Perez, Ms. Ari, who helped support that effort, because it was a hard effort. And then the rest of our deputies, Deputies Superintendent Taling Taitano and Chris Anderson, for the roles that they played in getting staff, especially central office staff, to participate in the accreditation process, which is something completely new. To ask someone in payroll or human resources or in facilities or in other places about how they're contributing to the outcomes for students. So to have that conversation start afresh and start new was really hard at first, but something that I think with the commitment of our team, we were able to have and start that discussion, and hopefully we will be able to continue that. I also want to thank Deputy Superintendent Joe Sanchez for his role in setting forth and designing much of the state strategic plan that the board adopted in 2014. The state strategic plan is really the roadmap, not just to receiving funding, but really to getting to that goal of improving student outcomes. And what we did with the WASC process was to say that accreditation process has to integrate our state strategic plan, we can't have separate efforts to improve outcomes. We want to make sure that the accreditation process aligns with what we're trying to accomplish in the state strategic plan. And WASC customized and helped us design that accreditation process to take that into account. So with all that said, those are my the folks I want to thank who helped get it done. But let me also recognize our board chairwoman, Ms. Lusa Nicholas, Mr. Ken Chargaloff, Ms. Maria Gutierrez, and all of our board members. But I know Ms. Nicholas and Mr. Chargaloff, as the accreditation subcommittee chairs, really took on the leadership role in making sure that we were able to get all the board members to provide input into the district accreditation, and then to provide input to all of us as we put together our self-study and interacted with the WASC visiting committee and so forth. So I want to thank them as well. In November, we received the visiting committee. These are superintendents and deputy superintendents from California who came in and talked to stakeholders, not just central offices, but school-based, school-level faculty and staff, parents and students and other partners, to really validate about what we said we were doing, what we said we hoped to accomplish, and then they gave us their input and feedback. And then in January at the winter meeting of the commission, which I serve as a commissioner on representing the Pacific Islands, the commission granted the Department of Education a 6-year accreditation with a mid-cycle visit in 2019 and a requirement to do annual reports in 2016, 17, and 18. And so with that unanimous approval by the commission, Guam is the first recipient of a district-level accreditation from WASC, and we know right now, in the nation, in terms of what WASC has done in the past, it's the first ever. And I know that districts in California and districts in Hawaii, or the complex areas in Hawaii, are looking at us as a model to see if they can implement something similar in their states. So with that, I want to thank everybody, and want to recognize the hard work that went into this. But more importantly, recognizing that this is just the part of the process of improvement. And as we go forward and make our annual reports and review what we're doing and what we want to improve over this 6-year accreditation term, we hope to see even better and more effective methods of serving our students. So thank you, everyone.
I would like to ask Chairperson Nicholas to please say a few words.
Thank you, Speaker Wampat and Senator Underwood. We really appreciate you taking the time to recognize the accomplishment of the Guam Department of Education. This is truly history in the making. I continually preach on the belief that the board has to be a leading board. And I think we have demonstrated that in many ways. And one of them is finally we are seeing a linkage in the accreditation process between what the schools are saying and what the district office is saying. And just about an hour and a half or 2 hours ago, we came out on our last school that is undergoing the initial accreditation visit. And we are so pleased, Mr. Superintendent, to inform you and everyone in this room that the schools are finally looking at these strategic goals, linking it to their student learner outcomes and their mission and the vision. And so we're all saying the same thing. And I'm very proud to say that the board recognizes the accomplishments of everyone. When the visiting team came out, they just didn't read the report, they just didn't talk to people. They actually physically went out to some of the schools and validated the report. And as a result of that validation, the Guam Department of Education truly has earned that 6-year term. So thank you, and biba, biba, biba.
Biba. Thank you very much, Chairperson Nicholas. I just want to once again underscore the importance of this accomplishment. I have been with the department for over 30 years, and I want to go on the record saying that, this is the best year that we have had, and we have a lot of hope we see that progress has been made thanks to all of you and the leadership of Superintendent Fernandez, and of course the support of the board, because it really takes all, right, to work together, and it's just wonderful to see this. So congratulations, GDOE, and again, BIBA DOE.